Going to be completely honest, this will probably be one of the shortest reviews I have done in a long time. This movie is ass. It is absolutely ass. Super Mario Galaxy, the movie Brothers 2. What an absolute load of old bollocks. I took my daughters to see this movie, my youngest and my middle daughter, 15-year-old and 10-year-old. We went to see this movie because we watched the first movie, and honestly, we didn't hate it, but we also didn't love it. But it's Mario. Like, I grew up with Mario, and Mario Galaxy is my jam. When that came out on the Wii, that was my game. So, like, I kind of thought, okay, we're doing Mario Galaxy. We watched that first movie. It was okay. I said at the time, Charlie Day is a fairly reasonable Luigi. Chris Pratt is not Mario. That was the worst casting choice. So let's talk about Super Mario Galaxy Brothers 2, or whatever you want to call it, and just let's see where this goes. It's not going to be my normal stream of consciousness kind of thing when it comes to my reviews, so it's not going to be like what I did and didn't like. It's just going to be like what happened in the film. This is Nerdly Presents Off the Reel. This is an Off the Reel review. You can go over to nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British website for all of your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. We like to cover everything from the big budget to the low budget to the no budget. Given the cast that it's got, it probably costs more on cast than it did on animation, although like all those bright colours probably did cost a lot. And that's the main thing about this movie. I walked out with an absolutely stonking headache. I tried to fall asleep like 15 minutes into the movie because there is no real plot. It's just like scene, hammering everything we possibly can at the audience, and hopefully the kids will just be distracted by the bright colours, the loud noises, and hopefully the parents will be happy with the member berries. So the nostalgia is there. I will say that the nostalgia is there, but you'll forget about it as soon as you leave the cinema, because it just feels like a speed run of everything we know about Mario. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about the plot of this movie. IMDb will tell you that Mario ventures into space, exploring cosmic worlds and tackling galactic challenges far from the familiar Mushroom Kingdom. And yeah, that is absolutely the crack. Like, the movie starts with Rosalina. We're up in the galaxy, because obviously it's Super Mario Galaxy, and we meet Rosalina. She's got all these little Luna Star things from the Mario Galaxy game. They're kind of like floating around. She looks after them all, and she's telling them all a bedtime story, and the bedtime story is the story of Peach, because obviously what we're going to find out throughout this movie is that Rosalina and Peach are sisters. As she's telling the story, this big mecha Bowser thing comes in and kidnaps her, and it's baby Bowser. This time it's baby Bowser, because the plot of this movie is essentially that baby Bowser wants to show his dad he can be as evil as his dad is, and probably as good as his dad is with his evil plans. So he kidnaps Rosalina because he wants to make essentially a Death Star so that he can blow a hole through different planets, take over the galaxy, and him and his dad can be the ultimate rulers of the whole thing. Yeah, that's essentially the plot of the movie. So that happens to Rosalina, and then Peach is the absolute girl boss in the Mushroom Kingdom. These Luna Stars come and say like, "Can you help us? Can you help us?" She's like, "I'll help you, I'll help you." So she goes away to help them. She tells Mario to stay home and look after the kingdom in his own freaking movie. It's a Super Mario Brothers movie. They want you to be okay with the fact that we're just going to leave the Mario Brothers at home to deal with the castle. That is just a microcosm of where movie making is right now. And we're getting it in a freaking Mario Brothers movie, which is about two plumbers called the Mario Brothers, but we're going to just rule them out of the movie. Obviously, they don't rule them out. They do come into it. But for the most part, Peach is like, I'm going to go and do this by myself because I'm a girl boss and I don't need you. And I'm going to go and save Rosalina. And then we'll be girl bosses together and everything will be absolutely splendorific. So that's her plan. That's her plan. And she goes to do that. So they like stay home, and they've got Bowser in this little play castle, because Bowser's like a tiny little thing. Yoshi turns up at some point. I think I genuinely did fall asleep at one point, because Yoshi does turn up, and I couldn't remember him turning up. And I have now seen the clip when he's walking through like New York, the Bronx, and all this kind of stuff. And honestly, like, everybody's raving about it and they love it. I just genuinely couldn't give two shiny shits. It is what it is. So he turns up, and then they go on a mission. Apparently it's Donald Glover that does the voice of Yoshi. So they like join up, and they're going to go, and Bowser manages to talk them into letting him join as part of the team, so then he becomes big again. Bowser meets his son, so then him and his son have a little bit of like back and forth bonding, and then his son's kind of like, no, you need to be evil, Dad, and the dad's like, no, I need you to be good, son. It's like, it's this whole thing. And then the two sisters, they meet up, so they're going to have to like save the galaxy together, be a couple of girl bosses together. Frickin' Fox McCloud from Lilac Wars turns up, which is like so cool to actually see him on the screen. I'm guessing we're going to be trying to do like a Super Smash Brothers thing with the Mario universe. I guess that's what they're looking at doing. It was really cool seeing him. Glen Powell voices him. Perfect choice to voice him. He's barely in it. He barely does anything. They spoiled it in the trailer like a few days before the movie came out. Why you would spoil that, I don't know. Like, people are going to see this movie no matter whatever the marketing was like. People are going to see this movie. Kids were going to flock to this movie, and parents were going to flock their kids to this movie, fill them full of sugar, give them like massive big sugar rushes because of what they're seeing on the screen, and then they would walk out in like an induced coma because of this movie that makes no sense, but it's just ADHD on steroids, essentially. So like, he comes into the film, which I was like, yay, Fox McCloud, that's really cool. Barely in it, but that's really cool. I don't really know if I can tell you much more about the plot. It just kind of happens. It just goes from scene to scene to scene to scene to scene till we get to the end. There is this whole thing about the two sisters coming together. Rosalina knows that she's Peach's sister. Peach doesn't know that she's Rosalina's sister, because they do this thing at the start of the movie where it's like, Peach is like, I don't really know where I came from. And that's like mental, like how she just all of a sudden drops that in a conversation. Again, the Mario Brothers just get totally written out of their own movie, but then they come back into it later on with Bowser, because really the film's about Bowser and Bowser's kid and Rosalina and Peach. That's what it's really about. Yoshi gets some okay little moments. Everybody's raving about Yoshi, but honestly, it's a character you didn't need to have in the movie, other than we need to have more characters in the movie. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump into voices, because plot-wise, there's just nothing to talk about. And we have our returnees. We have Chris Pratt and Charlie Day returning as Mario and Luigi. And then you've got Donald Glover this time coming in as Yoshi. That was pretty cool. Keegan-Michael Key comes in as Toad, someone I just cannot be bothered with in the acting world. You have got Benny Safdie doing the voice of Bowser Jr. He's one of those Uncut Gems directors, and he did either The Smashing Machine or The Marty Supreme. He did one of those two films. One of the Safdies did they each did a film, and he did one of them. I think he probably did the Dwayne The Rock Johnson one, The Smashing Machine, because yeah, that was a reasonably good movie, and he isn't in trouble. So he does the voice of Bowser Jr. Like, didn't really matter to me at all that he was in this movie. Brie Larson is the voice of Rosalina. Could have been absolutely anybody. People say that about Brie Larson anyway in every movie that she does. The likes of Jack Black returns as Bowser. Doesn't get nearly any of the good lines that he did have in the first movie, or that he has had in his career. This is getting to be a bit of a low point now. But you know what? He's embracing it. He's absolutely embracing it and loving it. Kung Fu Panda, this franchise, is not, but he is absolutely embracing the Bowser role. So I guess that's good. Anya Taylor-Joy is back as Princess Peach, and she's just playing the girl boss again. She's totally fine. Totally fine. I know, like, when it comes to voice acting, it's hard to kind of, like, sleepwalk your way through these roles, but sometimes it feels like she really is just reading off a napkin and just not really giving a shit about what she's saying. But loving to cash that check. Again, Glen Powell is up in there as Fox McCloud, which is awesome. Luis Guzman turns up as Wart, doing his best Luis Guzman impression. Honestly, I don't really want to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to talk about what I did and didn't like, because I just didn't really like the film. I walked out thinking that was the worst animated movie I have seen in years. That's the worst comic book, video game, cartoon franchise I have seen in a God's age. It's a 1 out of 5 for me, and that's only because I don't want to not give it a rating. It's got to get something. It is a 1 out of 5, and for the most part, that's because it entertained the kids. I mean, even my 15-year-old, she wasn't that fussed with this movie. My 10-year-old has never mentioned it since we left the cinema. For me, it's just a 1 out of 5. It's a bad movie. Piss poorly written. The dialogue's not delivered well at all. The story is practically non-existent. It's just speed running through a ChatGPT script that was churned out at the last minute, and that's all I can really say about that. There are very few redeeming qualities to this movie. I know people will go and see it. People are going to love it. There will be kids out there that go and see this movie like 100 times, and that's fine. There's a movie out there for everyone. There's someone out there for every movie. And this movie is going to find its audience. I think it's already found its audience. So it's going to do numbers. It's probably going to get a third film. That's totally fine. It just wasn't for me. I expect a little bit more from my video game movies. Like I say, Sonic, Sega, they are doing Sonic absolute justice on the big screen. All three of those movies have been bangers so far. Jim Carrey is killing it as Dr. Robotnik. Ben Schwartz is absolutely brilliant as the voice of Sonic. And I love those movies. I can't wait for Sonic 4. It's going to be amazing. This film, though, is just absolute dog shit. So I'm going to give it 1 out of 5, and I'm going to leave because I'm getting myself riled up and angry. But remember, you can go over to nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home, for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. I would like to cover everything from the big budget to the low budget to the no budget. Maybe somebody over there has reviewed Super Mario Bros. Galaxy 2 and really enjoyed it. I doubt that, but maybe somebody has. So go over there, see what they had to say. Maybe somebody hasn't enjoyed it just as much as I didn't. So check that out as well. Hit me in the comments down below, and I'm sure there'll be a comment about how wrong I am about this movie, and that's fine. You're allowed your opinion, I'm allowed mine. We can all go along our merry way and just live our lives as we do. But this movie for me just did not work at all. I wasn't a fan at all, and I wanted it to be excellent. I wanted it to be better than the first one, at least. And that was a pretty low bar to set, but it didn't even get that far. So yeah, 1 out of 5 from me. I'm going to go, and if I don't see you through the week, I will see you in the cinema. Hopefully not for a Super Mario Galaxy Bros. 3